Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video we are going to be making this 8 pieces peplon top. It's a very simple and easy tutorial. I take you guys along with me at every bit and stage of this tutorial. Please make sure to like, share and subscribe. I hope you learn a thing or two, and let's get into the tutorial. Starting with our front pattern, right here I already have my lines stated out: my chest line, bust line, under bust, waistline and hip line. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and place my tape on my shoulder for my shoulder slope, 1 inch shoulder slope, and my neck width, we have 3 inches for the neck width. So I'm going to be connecting my shoulder slope. Next, I'll go ahead and mark 3 inches for my neck depth. Moving on, we'll be going ahead to place our nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4 inches. So I'll be placing that on the bust line, under bust, waistline, and then the hip line. Next, I'm going to roll and join those lines, those dots together. Next, we're going to go ahead and place in our dart. So on the left side, I'm placing 1.5. On the right, I'm placing 1 inch. So 1 inch on the right, 1.5 on the left. And then on the hip line, I'll be placing ½ inch on both sides. So this is what we have here. So now I'm going to be connecting those dots together. Next, I'm going to go ahead and use my curved ruler and connect the dot from the under bust to the bust line. Next, on our armhole, we're going to go ahead and mark the midpoint of our armhole, which is 3.5. Now we're going to go ahead to use our curved ruler and connect the 3.5 mark to our bust point. Next, we are going to extend that 3.5 dot. We are going to extend it by ½ inch. So I'm just extending it that way with my marker. And then I'm also extending the armhole. Right here, I'm drawing out the top armhole with my curved ruler. And then we're going to go ahead and draw out, take in ½ inch on both sides on that 3.5 inch mark that we marked earlier on the armhole. You can see what I'm doing, although I didn't show you when I placed my tape. So we're taking ½ inch on both sides. Okay, and then that is the part where we'll be cutting out. So that is the armhole dart. Next, we're going to go ahead and add our body measurement. So I'm adding my bust measurement with the allowance from the armhole. So the 1 inch allowance for the armhole, you add it, and then also add your sewing allowance. You can make use of 1 inch, 2 inches, ½ inch, whichever suits you, but I made use of 1 inch, right? Moving on to the bust line, we're going to be placing our bust measurement. You can add ½ inch sewing allowance for the cutting of that point, or you don't need to, and then you add your 1 inch sewing allowance. Okay, for the under bust, you'll be placing your under bust measurement. Then the dart allowance, we have 2.5 because we took 1.5 on one end and 1 inch on one end, so a total of 2.5, and then your 1 inch sewing allowance. we'll be repeating the same thing for the waistline. So your waistline measurement, your dart, which is 2.5, okay, and then your 1 inch sewing allowance. Now moving on to the hip line, you'll be placing your hip line measurements, the dart allowance, which is 1 inch, and 1 inch for your sewing allowance. Now we are going to go ahead and use our ruler and connect those dots together. So guys, moving on, we are going to start by cutting our front pattern piece. Take note that we are using one pattern for both the front and the back. So first we'll be starting with our front piece. So now we are cutting our front piece. We're not cutting on a fold, so it's two separate pieces because this is an 8 pieces top, right? So now we are going to be marking 1/2 inch for the front, and for the width, we'll be extending the width of our top. So we'll be marking, you can make use of 5 inches, 6 inches, 4 inches, 7 inches, according to how much fabric you have. I didn't have so much fabric, that's why I made use of 2 different fabrics. So that is what I did. Okay, so you're also going to be adding 1/2 inch at the top end. You are going to be adding that 5 inch from the hem of the top to the waist. You can see how slanted it is. I'm going to show you in a bit so you can see clearly. So this is what it's looking like. So from the hem to the waist, okay, then the rest upwards is 1/2 inch. I did the same thing for the front, for the side front. Now we are going to go ahead and cut the back pattern. Remember, we're using the same pattern piece, right? So now I'm going to be using my marker to label it so that you know that exists the back pattern we are cutting, so you don't get confused. Right here for the neckline, I used the front neckline for the back neckline. You can decide to go up in your neckline by 2 inches so that your back neckline is 1 inch. Now for the side, we are going to go ahead and straighten up the lines. So the lines from your bust line, your bust point to the hem of the top, you can see where I'm marking. So I used my ruler to straighten up those lines, okay, because the back is not curved, you don't have breast at the back. So we are straightening up the lines for the back, okay, and then we're also going to repeat the same thing on the side back. Okay, so before the side back, you're also going to be adding the 5 inches or whatsoever inches you want to add to use and make your top flare. Okay, so you are going to add that inch and connect it to the waist like we did for the front when we're cutting the front. Okay, you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm just slanting it, connecting it to the waist. You are also going to repeat it on the other end, and then you will also be adding your 1/2 inch straight. Remember, it's no longer, the bust area is no longer curved. Okay, my marker is not so clear, but when I cut it, you are going to see exactly what I did. Now for the opposite end, which is the center back, remember it's the back, so we are going to be imputing our zipper allowance. So I'm using my ruler as a guide for the zipper allowance, so that's what I'm just ruling out now. So we make use of 1 inch for our zipper allowance. I've gone ahead to mark that on the pattern, on the fabric. Now we are going to be extending. So this is where you also extend by 4 inch, 5 inch, whatsoever you are working with for your own particular top. Okay, so you extend it and connect it to the waistline, and that is exactly what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and rule that out. Next, we're going to go ahead and cut, and this way you'll be able to see a lot clearly what I marked. Okay, you can see how straight it is for the center back. Don't forget to notch your zip allowance at the top so that when you're adding your zip, it's a lot easy for you. Now for the side back, we are also going to be straightening it out from the bust point to the hem of the top, just like we did for the center back. So now we are going to go ahead and repeat that for the back. So we're straightening up the dart area for the back, and now I'm going to be adding my 1/2 inch allowance. So now you know that now that we've extended the side back, it means that your measurement is a lot wider. You have excess in your measurement. This is where we are going to be bringing back the center back, okay? And then this way you will be making use of your tape to make sure that your measurements are correct, okay? So you can see I'm placing the tape on the waist, and then the new waist for the back, you will mark it. So for example, if you have an 8-inch waist, so you mark from the center back there, just like the way I marked, and the excess you are going to fold your paper, okay? So make sure you measure very well. I really hope you are getting what I'm explaining. I really do hope you understand what I'm explaining. So from my measurements for the excesses, that is where I'm folding in, because the center back, the side back has been extended because we straightened the dart, okay? So in a nutshell, the front is a little bit wider than the back. Now we are going to go ahead and add the 5 inch, 4 inches, or whatsoever inch you are making use of for the flare, the lower part of the top. You are going to be adding it on both sides of the top. I made use of 4 inches, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that from the waist to the hem of the top, and we are going to go ahead and cut. You can also decide to cut your back pattern separately from your front pattern and not do it the way I did it. I just did it to save time and save paper. So that's why I decided to do it that way. And I felt it's a little bit faster to sew and make because of time. So right here, I've gone ahead to join my back piece. So I've joined the two sides on both opposite sides, and I'm just going to show you guys and place them right side. So I'm going to go ahead and join my lining to them, and then also fix the zip. Okay, so this is what they are looking like. Now this is what my front piece is looking like. I've gone ahead to join the 4 pieces of my front piece together, and this is how neat and beautiful it came out. So yeah, this is what the back is looking like. So right here, I've gone ahead to add my lining piece to the back and also to the front. So I've joined the hem and the neckline. I've sewn on the hem and the neckline. Everything came out neat. I also went ahead to iron in my zipper allowance so that it's a lot easy for me when I'm fixing my zip. For the front, I also joined my lining to my main fabric, and then I sewed in the neckline and the hem, and this is what it's looking like. Very neat and pretty. It's coming out really good. So now we are going to go ahead and place the front and the back together, and also add our zip and the sleeve, and I'll come back and show you guys. Okay, so this is what it's looking like after I added the sleeve. I made use of a puff sleeve, and this is what it is joined together, and I've added the zip. It came out really nice. This is the final look on my mannequin. I hope you learned a thing or two in this video. Please do make sure to like, share, subscribe, and all the good stuff, okay? I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.